NHL season opener, Penguins versus Blackhawks, Crosby versus Bedard. You've probably seen every single clip on the NHL social media and saw him collect his first NHL point. But long story short, Connor Bedard had a strong first game in the NHL. The first thing that was noticeable was his confidence with the puck. In this entire game, nobody had the puck on their stick more than Connor Bedard. That's pretty impressive considering some of the names he's going up against in Crosby, Letang, Carlson, and Malkin. I talked about this before, but coming into the league, I was curious if the nerves or speed of the game would hinder his desire to want to carry the mail in the middle of the ice. Early on, Bedard looked a tad timid, and that was kind of noticeable in how he was handling his puck touches, but this was expected when you consider how big of a moment this was in his career. However, after a couple of shifts, Bedard really started to settle in and become far more comfortable with the puck. This is evident with his controlled zone entries, which, by the way, Bedard also led the entire game in this category as well. This controlled zone entry led to an extensive pressure in the offensive zone, which overall led to his first NHL point. It's this level of confidence that turned into poise with the puck that allowed him to drive plays in the offensive zone. Whenever a loose puck or rebound popped out in his vicinity, Bedard didn't rush or panic to make a play before he had to. He consistently opted to hold on to the puck, and that patience drove the offense for the Blackhawks. This is a trait that any elite player should possess, but considering the nerves and attention of this game, it was impressive for him to maintain his game and not get frazzled. Bedard also ranked first in scoring chances and second in shots. That alone is a fantastic indication of whether or not Bedard is comfortable and confident in his game. His deadliest weapon is that shot, so anytime he had a chance to use it, he took that opportunity. Whether it came off an extended possession which he created, or him hitting the right spots at the right time, Bedard consistently put himself in the right spot to score goals. And even though he didn't end up scoring one in this one, his process is what matters most. Now, like any rookie, there's going to be some obvious things that he'll have to work on. Face-offs, of course, being the glaring one, as he got his clock cleaned out by Crosby pretty much the entire night. But usually, young players suck on the face-off draw, so he'll likely spend the entire year getting cleaned out in that area. But more importantly, the coaching staff will look for Bedard to grow in these defensive situations. On the Crosby goal, Bedard was initially with Crosby, then gets caught above Sid trying to block the shot, and instead of stopping and instantly popping back into the zone, he loops around, and this tiny decision makes enough room for a seam pass to Crosby, and it ends up in the back of the net. These are the expected mistakes and habits an 18-year-old will have, but it'll be these things that the coaching staff will look to work on when it comes to his game. One thing I loved about what they said on the broadcast was how Luke Richardson, who is the coach of the Blackhawks, is encouraging this team to not be afraid of making mistakes. With such a young team, guys can be afraid to make a risky play, and it completely nullifies what makes them great. Chicago is encouraging these kids to make those risky plays and learn from them in the process. Bedard was a prime example of that, and they were able to play a decent 60-minute game to beat a Penguins team with high expectations. Overall, a good first game for Bedard and the Hawks. We'll see how they fare out against the Boston Bruins tonight. Every game, all the eyes are going to be on Bedard, and a lot of fans are already sick of it, but he's the future of the NHL, so they're going to milk this no matter what. Anyways, let us know what you thought about Bedard's first game, and what do you think will be his biggest challenge for the rest of the season? We got a ton of games lined up for tonight and breakdowns for all those games, so make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications to stay up to date.